Friday, my guy.
You excited for tomorrow?
I am extremely excited, man. It's Texans playoffs, man. Come on now.
And what round are we in?
The divisional round. Huh.
Okay. So
Interesting.
we're this close from our first ever AFC championship game. And we're this close from the Super Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here on a Friday night previewing the Houston Texans versus Baltimore Ravens divisional round playoff game. But before we do, this episode was brought to you by Bet Online. With NFL playoffs right around the corner and the NBA season in full swing, BetOnline has you covered with all the up-to-second odds, news, and scores. With additional odds, lines, trends, and info on both desktop and mobile, you can access the world's best wagering information anytime.
Head there today to get into the action and see all the updated odds. Remember to use our promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus in your first deposit. Bet online where the game starts.
Where the game starts. The game's going to start for us tomorrow, 3:30. Once again, the Houston Texans are on the road, and they are trying to shock the world, Harley. This time going against the number one team in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens, and potentially the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't think so. I think that's CJ Stroud. But the MVP this year might be Lamar Jackson. Alejandro says, you got a new camera, Ruben? No, my light broke and I had to move things around. Harley knows about that on Saturday.
Yeah.
I was absolutely stressing, dude. But yeah, man, had to do some new stuff with the lights. But Harley, Houston Texans, second round of the playoffs. You have an opportunity once again to have the Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore. How are you feeling, man?
I am feeling fantastic, actually.
Okay.
I am happy about this Houston Texans team, but I'm not satisfied.
Ooh.
And this Texans expectations, as we've said all year, the expectations have risen again and again and again throughout this year.
What?
You have beaten the Jaguars. You have beaten the Steelers in what was some fun blowout games. Gets a little rocky. You bounce right back. You beat the Bengals on the road against Joe Burrow.
What?
A lot of teams forget about that win for Joe Burrow and CJ Stroud, and the Houston Texans actually dominating for 3 quarters in that game. People forgot about that game, man. People forgot about the big come from behind win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with no kicker.
What?
People forgot about the big old win at home facing what was a hot Denver Broncos team.
Winners of 5 straight. What?
The Houston Texans have had big wins this year.
What?
They are no strangers to stepping up when the lights are bright.
No, they're not.
They did it 2 weeks ago on the road at Indianapolis.
They did.
And said, bring it on. And CJ Stroud, and I quote, said, we're too fucking special. This Texans team is too fucking special, man. I'm excited for tomorrow. It's 3:30. It's time to get going. We are live.
We live, baby.
Proud to be rocking CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans and the Miko Ryans. Come on, man. Let's get another opportunity, as they say.
I'm proud to be a Houston Texan, man. I am proud. And when I see the team, first of all, their admin who does their social media has been on fire this year. I think they know they have something special going on as well. When you bring back Brian Cushing, who this dude looks like he can suit up again. I mean, when you have that type of guy leading you out the tunnel, and let's not forget, Brian Cushing wasn't a football player, ladies and gentlemen. He was a warrior. He was a dude who would take off his helmet and would literally headbutt someone with one on just to show his dominance. This team, I think they know they're special as well, Harley. What I love is that you rarely hear any trash talking from these players. It seems like everyone's locked in. And that Netflix special that they did where DeMeco Ryans was mic'd up against the Browns, what was really cool was seeing DeMeco talk to Dalton Schultz about their meetings on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and how everyone was just locked in. Who comes in 5 seconds later? Oh, you're talking about Tuesday's meeting. Oh yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. Like this team, they know they're special, Harley, and I think they felt like they could walk in tomorrow in Baltimore and walk out with the 53 beaks of the Ravens in a sack and get one step closer to the Super Bowl. Dude, I cannot believe we are here.
There's a 50% chance that you go to your first ever AFC Championship game, Texans history. There's a 25% chance that you get to the Super Bowl. Hey, man, let's play with the odds. Let's play with it, man. Let's get another opportunity, as D'Amico Ryan says. Brian Cushing is absolute fun. I mean, the guy that always had that he was a captain for a reason. You can see he was most likely the guy leading the huddle and doing the speeches pregame. I remember it as a kid. This ain't really nothing new to me, but it's good to see a camera and a microphone attached to him and getting to see it every weekend. It's a lot of fun seeing him rocking that Texans red, white, and blue again, and rocking for us, man. And like I remember, shout out to another Texans podcast. They had Brian Cushing as a special guest months ago. And, he's a guy that doesn't, as he said, doesn't really keep up with a lot of football anymore. Is focused on his personal life. For a guy that's not focused on football anymore, and he's definitely all in with the Houston Texans. And who better, right? Who better than D'Amico's partner in crime in that 2011 Texans defense when you had D'Amico Ryans and Brian Cushing doing absolute murder on the field? It was just too easy. So as easy it was for them in 2011 when they dominated the Ravens back then in the regular season, the Houston Texans, the Ravens are going to have their own legend on the field and former Houston Texan Jacoby Jones. And I'll say this right now. I have not forgiven Jacoby Jones for muffing the punts.
I rewatched the highlights from that game last night, when the NFL decided to put it up there. Before we do, Dick Cheese, shout out to the name. Love the show and from Singapore. Can I get a shout out? Hey, man, whenever you want to invite me and Harley over there in Singapore, I know all of y'all got some money. So,
y'all got food too.
Yeah,
got good
fly
food.
Us out, first class, we'll love to party with you. We'll go to whatever castle, whatever ball you want to go to. Shout out to my people from Singapore, man. Shout out to you.
Shout out to Singapore.
Watching those highlights again, seeing rookie TJ Yates, seeing Andre Johnson, Arian Foster, who the Baltimore Ravens could not stop. Arian Foster almost had 100 yards by the second quarter in that game. I want my get back. And it feels like it's been another 13 years cooking or 8 years cooking, 9 years cooking. How long has it been since that game, dude? We're getting old.
Yeah, it's been a few years. It's been more than a decade.
Okay, I saw his comment. I'm not gonna.
No, don't even acknowledge it. Don't even acknowledge it.
I love this chat. I love every single one of you who has been on these streams since the beginning. I don't know when me and Harley started doing lives together, but it feels like this is like our almost 2 years now doing it together. So shout out to everyone who has been with us along this way. It has definitely been a journey, and we know who is there with us, right? Going back to this game, Harley, Baltimore Ravens fans, they built this narrative that they are the underdogs. When in fact, they are, I believe right now, 9.5-point favorites. A 2-score game is what Las Vegas is predicting. I hear a lot of Baltimore Ravens fans saying, you can't stop Lamar Jackson. No matter what he's done in the playoffs, you cannot stop Lamar Jackson. Like this guy, the Novus Wanderer, 31-13 Ravens. This is what fans are predicting. I saw this against the Indianapolis Colts. I saw this against the Cleveland Browns. When are people going to understand that when you doubt this Houston Texans team, when you doubt Coleridge Bernard Stroud the fourth, he will embarrass you. And he's going to do that tomorrow at 3:30, man. I just cannot wait. Harley, thoughts on the Baltimore Ravens fans really thinking that they're the underdogs in this game?
I don't understand it. I don't understand why Baltimore Ravens fans want to paint themselves as underdogs. I don't get it. I guess the morale in Baltimore is low. I guess they just don't feel very confident for the game. I don't know why they wouldn't. They're the number one seed. They have a great coach in John Harbaugh. They have an MVP quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Yeah, I understand a certain amount of confidence and arrogance that comes with that. That's just any team that's the number one seed. That's going to come with the brass. I get it. I'm an Astros fan. I'm super cocky and I'm super arrogant, but that's because we back it up. Shout out to the Astros. Shout out to the Astros. So I get it. The Astros have backed it up, whereas the Ravens haven't backed it up. 1-3 in the playoffs, and that's the biggest knack on the Ravens.
Let's get into it.
The biggest knack on them.
I think, Harley, it's not just a battle on the field. It's a battle in the minds for the Baltimore Ravens. Go ahead, man. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's good. And that's exactly what I was going to say, too. Like, at what point, if the Ravens don't start off hot, which is a good thing that could happen for the Texans, being that the Ravens technically have had 3 weeks of football off. And I get it. Baltimore's not the Browns. I know that. We know that. The Browns were a pushover team. They were absolutely horrible team. It shouldn't have even 45 on their heads. Cool. I know the Ravens aren't that good. They're better than the Browns, so that's nothing new to me. But to sit here and say that we're absolutely going to do nothing against them, cool. Keep it coming. I love the comments. I love it because who hasn't came back to the live stream? Alvarado, Browns fan. He was talking all kinds of noise. So whenever we beat the brakes off of the Baltimore Ravens and make them not only a pit stop, but a freaking urinal, at the end of the day, the Houston Texans could ran you over. And I want to know where the novice wonder will be at when the Houston Texans win this game on Saturday. When the Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud show them what a great quarterback C.J. Stroud is and what great quarterback play looks like. It's not just running around with the football, trying to extend the play and see whatever happens. Oh, I got legs, so I'm faster than everyone. And oh, cool, awesome. We're about to see what a good quarterback with the ball that can pass the ball consistently and accurately throughout his whole, how many games? 20-game career. I mean, it's not even this is a fact of life right now. C.J. Stroud is playing better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. Lamar's a former MVP. I get it. C.J. Stroud's already better than him. He's surpassed him.
I love that. Surpass Lamar Jackson. I mean, if you walk into Baltimore tomorrow and take that dub, you are going to have that conversation. Let's go back to that. Shout out to Cowboys, because I was just about to bring that up. I was just about to bring that up, man. When you talk about being 1-3 in the playoffs, that's a mental thing for you. And if, like Harley said, if Baltimore finds themselves down 10 points to 14 in the third quarter, in the second half, that doubt is going to creep into their mind. Can we be successful in the playoffs? Can Lamar Jackson get us to the Super Bowl? If the Houston Texans win tomorrow, you are going to cripple the Baltimore Ravens fan base. You are going to cripple them because all this doubt, which is already there, it is already there. It's been there since Lamar Jackson's rookie year, where they had to take him out in his first playoff game, bring in Robert Griffin III because they didn't trust his arm late in the game. There has been doubts about Lamar Jackson performing when the lights are on. You know who does not have that question about him? C.J. Stroud. Now, they asked Lamar Jackson, how confident in you that you guys could score more than 20 points this game, because in all 4 of the Baltimore Ravens playoffs game, even the game they won, which was against the Tennessee Titans, did not put up more than 20 in that game. CJ Stroud, all this year, has shown that he could light up any defense that is put in front of him. And dude, they have an opportunity to cripple that fan base with the win tomorrow. You're going to have a lot of people saying, what do we do with Lamar? What do we do? We can't go past, we haven't been close to the Super Bowl, even though being favorites, consistently being in the conversation. Dude, all the pressure is on Baltimore tomorrow, not the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. When I look at this Baltimore Ravens schedule this year, I look at it and I'm going, okay. So week 1, they played the Texans, CJ Stroud, rookie game. That wasn't even close to what the Texans were going to be tomorrow. So, okay, cool. Week 2, they played at Cincinnati against Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow wasn't even ready at that beginning of the season. He was still injured. It was pretty prevalent that we all knew that he was still injured. Week 3, they played the Colts, Anthony Richardson, another rookie quarterback. Week 4, they played at Cleveland and beat the brakes off of Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. Okay, so to me, that was the first quarterback they played, is Deshaun Watson. Week 5, at Pittsburgh. Cool. Kenny Pickett? Nope. At Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill? Nope. Detroit Lions, I'll give you that one. Jared Goff, he's in the playoffs. He's doing great things. Week 8, at Arizona. Josh Dobbs? Nope. Week 9, Seattle. What? Geno Smith?
No.
I would say no. I would say no. Browns, they lost this game in their home stadium. Very weird game. But they faced Deshaun Watson. They got beat. I would give Deshaun Watson a nod that he's a solid quarterback, regardless of how Texans fans feel about him. Then they faced a Joe Burrow Week 11 team in the Cincinnati Bengals. They won. So you know what? I'll give them 4 right there. They faced a Chargers team that absolutely sucked. I'm not going to give them nothing there. The Rams, they barely beat Matthew Stafford. Okay, that's 5 good quarterbacks they played. At Jacksonville, Week 15 with Trevor. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence played that game. Might have been C.J. Beathard. I don't know. Regardless, Week 16, they played Brock Purdy. I'm not giving them Brock Purdy. The 49ers are a fantastic team, don't get me wrong, but none of these quarterbacks give me that vibe. Week 17, Tua Tagovailoa, they beat the brakes off of him and the Dolphins. So this whole point is to say they've beaten at least 5 quarterbacks. I'll give them 6 with Trevor Lawrence. They've beaten at least 6 quarterbacks that are at least good. All right, so 2 of them were Joe Burrow. So CJ Stroud has beaten Joe Burrow. I'm going to rank CJ Stroud higher than Joe Burrow. CJ Stroud's better than Deshaun Watson. CJ Stroud's better than Jared Goff. And CJ Stroud is better than Matthew Stafford and Brock Purdy and Tua Tagovailoa and Trevor Lawrence. So in my opinion, and this is the conclusion of that, the Baltimore Ravens are playing the best quarterback they've ever played so far this year. It's going to be CJ Stroud in the Houston Texans.
It's going to be.
And so that's nothing new. That's based on their schedule. Hey, you can't schedule who you want to face. The NFL does that for you. At the end of the day, though, about 6 good quarterbacks you played in 18 weeks of football, and all 6 of them are worse than CJ Stroud. I'm going to give my nod to CJ and the Houston Texans.
Landry Locker on Sports Radio 610, shout out to him, says that the Texans have the quarterback advantage tomorrow. What do you think?
I already said it earlier, and I agree with him. It wasn't a take that I grabbed from him. I thought about the same thing as well. He just happened to mention it on the radio before me. But this isn't nothing new. I mean, CJ Stroud, we already know. CJ Stroud is being already in the lights of Joe Montana's and Tom Brady's. Last I checked, when I talked to the old heads, the GOAT is Joe Montana. When I talk to people of our generation or a little bit older, the GOAT is Tom Brady. So you're talking about the 2 GOATs at the quarterback position, and CJ Stroud as a rookie is being compared already to 2007 Tom Brady, who went undefeated, by the way, and the 1989 Joe Montana 49ers, which was one of the best teams ever to be put on an NFL field. Both teams went to the Super Bowl. One got upset to the New York Giants. The other one absolutely dominated in the Denver Broncos. So I'm here to tell you this. Rookie CJ Stroud is not rookie. CJ Stroud is playing like a veteran. And I had reacted to a Kay Adams video on my YouTube channel. She said that he was unflappable and he had the mannerisms of a veteran. That's exactly what CJ Stroud is. He has been so much composure. He was just a stone-faced killer in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Stone-faced killer. There was nothing that was going to rattle CJ Stroud. I expect more of the same at Baltimore.
Dude, I cannot wait. I wish it was game time already. This Houston, and then look at the novice wanderer trying to, kind of keep the same energy. You had us being blown out. You said we were a step to the Super Bowl. I don't want to hear nothing on that. Stand on your side, dude. If you believe the Houston Texans are going to win, man, 78 people in the chat, I need you to drop the swarms. And I go back to that 1-3. We saw it with the Dallas Cowboys, a team that everyone thought was going to go to Super Bowl. Dak had some MVP conversations. Blown out week 1 against the Packers. That's not one mental thing. And I think it's going to happen tomorrow, brother. I really do. The Houston Texans have an opportunity, man, to just go out there, steal one. And that's what's everyone's going to be talking about. It's the Houston Texans stealing a victory from not only the best team in the AFC, number 1 for a reason, but also a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, man, you win tomorrow, everyone's going to start calling you, dude, a dark horse or the favorite to go to the Super Bowl. We have the injury report tomorrow, Harley. I'm going to go ahead and give it out right now. The do not participates were Nico Collins, George Fant, Jerry Hughes. Jerry Hughes out, George Fant questionable, but we know he's going to play tomorrow. Yes. Nico Collins also will play tomorrow. Limited was Will Anderson Jr., Andrew Beck, who was questionable, Malik Collins, Grenard, Denzel Perriman, Sheldon Rankins, Robert Woods, Chris Boyd, Blake Cashman, Christian Harris, John Mechie. It looks like we will be pretty healthy heading into tomorrow against the Baltimore Ravens. I wish I could say the same for the Baltimore Ravens. They will be without Mark Andrews, but they've pretty much been without him all year. They will also be without their starting quarterback, Marlon Humphrey. Now, that is huge. Yes. Nico Collins has been on a tear the past 2 games. I mean, on a tear that people are calling, that I'm calling him a legit wide receiver number 1. Dude, obviously I'm biased. Obviously, I'm a Houston Texans fan, but I'm more confident going in tomorrow than what I was against the Indianapolis Colts. I really do feel that. I've seen CJ Stroud do it the past 2 weeks. And like you said, man, the fact that this dude is being compared to Joe Montana, compared to Tom Brady at different points in our lives, Harley, in our lives, we could have said each of those 2 guys are the greatest to ever do it. Yeah. And the fact that you are doing it in year 1, it's absolutely insane. So what does that tell me? It tells me that you're going to do it again tomorrow. Because no lights are too bright for the Houston Texans, for CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Nico Collins should have a big day. We're dependent on him having a big day, so no Marlon Humphrey. Hey, Nico Collins had about 80 yards the first time around against his Baltimore Ravens team, 80 yards with an offense and a rookie quarterback that was just barely crawling. Right now the Houston Texans are a bunch of babies that are driving a car, and we don't know what the hell we're doing, but we're gunning that thing. We're swerving in that car. I swerve when I drive. I don't know about you, but the Houston Texans are absolutely swerving right now. The Houston Texans are just babies driving, going 120 in this car like a locomotive. Nope. And everyone that's in their way, they're just either running over, doing their thing right now. That's what's so good about this Texans team. They don't know that they're not supposed to be here. We're overachieving. And now it's to the point where it doesn't feel like we're overachieving anymore. It feels like we're doing exactly what we're set out to do. And CJ Stroud is leading this team with D'Amico Ryans and company. And the same vibe I have from CJ Stroud last week when he was on the Pat McAfee show and they talked about, Stephen A. Smith saying, they didn't have a chance against the Cleveland Browns that game. I have a similar feeling with it again in the Baltimore Ravens game, not so much on CJ Stroud, but so much more on D'Amico Ryans and his defense. They're telling him right now, Lamar Jackson's going to go out there and do his thing. He's not going to be stopped. And yes, we know Lamar Jackson is elite. We know this. But in the first game, the Houston Texans did a hell of a job actually containing Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the second half got away from you, but I thought the score should have been a lot bigger if I was a Ravens fan. It was only 25-9. The Texans, to me, did a solid job containing Lamar Jackson, keeping him inside that pocket, not getting them to the edge, not getting them to the outside, and using those legs to beat you and get those 3rd and 6 first downs, So I see that this Texans defense can repeat that performance, and I get it. The Baltimore Ravens are not the same team like us. Week 1 to week whatever now, 20 is what we're in really in the divisional round. We're both different teams. But at the same time, they don't have Mark Andrews this time around. Todd Monken, yes, fantastic job what he's doing with Baltimore Ravens. He's the offensive coordinator there. And Lamar Jackson has a whole season of Todd Monken behind him. But Blake Cashman now has had a whole season of D'Amico Ryans behind him. Christian Harris has had a whole season of D'Amico Ryans behind him. Will Anderson, Derek Barnett, who did not play week 1. Christian Harris and Blake Cashman, by the way, were non-factors in that week 1 game, by the way. The Houston Texans have a bunch of guys, more than just an offensive coordinator, that are absolutely ready to go out there on Saturday 3:30 and get this opportunity and go grab a W for the city of Houston.
Yeah, I think the Texans, man, they want to put on. And I think it won't be just CJ. I think it will be this whole team rising up to the occasion, man. Let's go back to that week 1 matchup. Your leading rusher was Dameon Pierce. 11 carries, 38 yards, 3.5. He's no longer your starting running back. Dalton Schultz that game, 2 targets, 2 catches, 4 yards. Yes, this is week 1, but the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens are a different football team, but I think the Houston Texans have showed the most growth throughout this season because we were only projected 5 to 7 wins. Once again, picking in the top 5 of the draft. You were being made fun of for trading for Will Anderson Jr. You gave the Cardinals Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison. That's what they were saying. And the fact that you are here right now is absolutely insane. And you have an opportunity, dude. I feel like the Houston Texans can walk in tomorrow and walk out with the dub. We had Eric Murray week 1. LT was gone. Left guard gone. And center all out. Man, I mean,
no, it's a whole different offense, too, that they went up against. Because Devin Singletary brings just a whole different dynamic than Dameon Pierce. We didn't know that Dameon Pierce wasn't going to fit this scheme and wasn't going to be doing what Dameon Pierce did year 1. We didn't know that. That's why we called Crenshaw kind of crazy about, Devin Singletary being the leading rusher for the Texans at the end of the year. Hey, kudos to him for knowing what was up, Excuse me, but Devin Singletary has been phenomenal for you. He fits this scheme like a glove. And at the end of the day, the offensive line, Laramie Tunsil is back. Juice Scruggs is back, and he's at left guard right now. Michael Dieter's at center. Shaq Mason is at right guard, and your right tackle is going to be George Fant. You're telling me You're telling me how good this Ravens front seven is. I get it. They're fantastic. Madubuike and Jadeveon Clowney, Michael Pierce, a bunch of them other guys, they got a great front seven. I get it. This Houston Texans offensive line has stonewalled good defensive lines. They just did it last week with the Browns defensive line. They've done it many times with Myles Garrett. They did it with TJ Watt and the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not only the offensive line, it's kudos to the offensive lines coach and Bobby Slowick understanding what to do conceptually as an offensive line group to shut down whoever is the best pass rusher or whoever they want to take out of the game. They did it in the Steelers game. And let me tell you, that Steelers games, we had backups in the game. We had Austin Deculus, a left tackle. All right. This
Against
Texans
who?
offensive line against TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith.
Yep.
And I mean, come on, man. That defense is filthy. That's the whole reason why they got into the playoffs. So this Texans offensive line is night and day from game one to now. It is night and day, and so are the Houston Texans. That's why I'm so higher on this Texans team, because I can be non-biased, but at the end of the day, which team is totally different from week one to now? To me, it's the Houston Texans. It is. And then the Ravens are not going to have Mark Andrews. Who offensively scares you?
It's just Lamar. It's just
That's
Lamar.
it.
OBJ does not scare me whatsoever.
None.
Zay Flowers does not scare me whatsoever. Isaiah likely, I mean, he's okay, but doesn't scare me at all. You know,
tight ends are tough for us.
Yeah. Anyone outside of Lamar Jackson, I'm not scared of. And go ahead.
Zay Flowers, not to cut you off, but like Zay Flowers has been a guy that's only averaged 8 to 12 yards a catch. So they're not using him as that guy in Boston College. He was popping off the top off, defenses. They haven't used him really like that. So I do wonder, maybe the Ravens cut him loose a little bit. Do the Houston Texans throw that Derek Stingley allocation to him instead of just playing on the sides? We saw it last week with the Browns. Stingley absolutely shut down Amari Cooper, because like Derek Stingley posted on Instagram, Michael Crabtree's an absolute bum. When you put me against a sorry receiver like Amari Cooper,
result you're gonna get.
That's exactly what Derek Stingley posted on his Instagram. If anybody didn't see it, it happened a few days ago. Derek Stingley absolutely talking mess about Amari Cooper and the Cleveland Browns. Don't test him. Do not test him. And believe me, I feel like we're gonna see the play again. The play that happened in the Denver Broncos game, the play that happened in the Indianapolis Colts game, the setup, Jalen Petrie bites play, Zay Flowers or Odo Beckham are going to go deep, and Derek Stingley is going to be on their opposite hip, just watching, and Lamar's going to think he's got one, and Derek Stingley, he's going to pick that thing off, or he's at the very least going to deflect it or get both of his hands on it, because at the end of the day, Derek Stingley is the best cornerback in this division, and to me, already a top 10 cornerback in this league. People are going to find out who Derek Stingley is as well this Saturday, because he is an elite cornerback. Stay healthy, and you're going to be one of the best ones to do it.
Let's jump into keys to the game. One of my keys, well, pretty much you do this, you might have a great chance of winning this game. Easier said than done, though, stopping the run. Because it's not just Lamar Jackson who has over 800 yards and multiple touchdowns himself. Gus Edwards, also 800 yards on the season, 13 touchdowns. They also have their backup running back, Justin Hill, has a couple touchdowns, has some speed on him. The Baltimore Ravens are willing to run the ball 30 to 40 times a game. They have passed the least this year. And if you stop the run for the Houston Texans, if you go out there tomorrow and you limit them, you don't really have to stop them, but limiting the Baltimore Ravens, put them in that second and long, third and long. I think it's going to be very key. Let Lamar Jackson beat you with his arm. I will feel 1,000 times better. Knock on wood, right? If the Houston Texans lose this game tomorrow, I'll feel much better if I see Lamar Jackson throw 40 times, vice versa to him only throwing 20, and he runs all over us. Have Lamar Jackson beat you with his arm. I don't think he can. There is a reason why they threw least all year. It's because their running game is that damn good, but they're going up against the best run defense in the NFL, and the Houston Texans have that. And like what Harley brought up about people rising to the occasion, DeMeco Ryans, I believe he has this game as his legacy game. And he's already had a couple. But tomorrow, if DeMeco Ryans shuts down the Baltimore Ravens offense, Harley, we got the one. We already feel like we got the one. But you're talking about this team is special, can be special, will be special. I already feel like they are. My key tomorrow, stopping Lamar Jackson, stopping Gus Edwards, stopping Justice Hill, and I think you have a good chance of winning this football game.
Yeah, I would say the first thing for this Texans defense, shut down the run game, which they've absolutely done for the majority of this season. For about 75%.
No one block you, dude. No one wants to hear your negative comments and you call yourself a Texans fan. You'll be the same one jumping in when we win tomorrow. Oh, I've always believed. Nah.
Yeah. So like the Houston Texans defense, they have to stop the run game. And I'm not talking about just Lamar, but stop Gus Edwards, Justice Hill. It should not be that big of a task for you to stop them. You've stopped more running backs before. I know someone mentioned Dalvin Cook. Please, Baltimore, I am begging you, please play Dalvin Cook. Play him. If y'all give me Dalvin Cook, I give you 2 fumbles. How about that?
Lamar can give you some fumbles too.
But I feel a lot better if Dalvin Cook is running the football. And the Houston Texans, if they believe it, the Baltimore Ravens, the Ravens fans, for some reason, when they signed Dalvin Cook, they dropped Florida State University highlights for that man. I do not know why. That is not who they got for Dalvin Cook, okay? Dalvin Cook is about done. But at the end of the day, please give him the ball. Please feed him. I will give you 2 fumbles. How about that? Okay. With that being said, you stop the run is the biggest thing, because what you want to do, you want to make Lamar Jackson the passer. And Lamar Jackson the passer is a lot easier to beat than Lamar Jackson the runner.
100%.
Because if it's Lamar Jackson the runner, you're in for a long game. You are in for a long game. So what you got to do, containing the edge, and that's what's so huge about having Grenard back, and actually back a few days ago, he was announced that he was going to be playing for this game. So I'm confident that he's near 100%. Will Anderson, I feel like he is 100%. Obviously, maybe not, because, knickknacks, injuries, whatever. He's as close to 100% as to Grenard. But I'm happy that both of them are going to be playing the majority of this game, from what I feel like. And both of those guys are not only good at getting to the quarterback, but they're really good at setting the edge. And that's what you need to do against the Lamar Jackson offense, is contain him, keep him inside the pocket, make him beat you with his arm. Because, yeah, I trust Lamar Jackson as a passer. I do. But do I trust his weapons? Do they have enough around him? Rashad Bateman don't do much for me, like we mentioned.
They have a game where they dropped 10 passes this year.
Yeah. And there was a playoff game where they had like 12 drops in the playoff game, and they lost to the Tennessee Titans. Like, it's unfortunate, yes, but get better weapons. Surround that man with better wide receivers. Like, it's not hard. It really isn't. It really is not that difficult. And the Ravens have failed to do so with Lamar Jackson. And thank you. I appreciate it, because the Houston Texans should take advantage of it. Make Lamar Jackson a passer, stop the edges, contain him. Don't let him get outside. Don't let him start scrambling, because then it's panic mode. It's, oh, crap. Because once he starts backyard football in that thing, that's when it's going to be a long game for the Texans. But with Christian Harris, with Blake Cashman, with the rest of this defense that has played very well, the depth that you signed in the waiver wire, whether it's Derek Barnett, whether it's Myjai Sanders, whether it's DeAndre Houston Carson, like these guys have played very well for you in the absence of others and the filling up the defense from others. This team, I do believe the Texans defense has a lot to hold their head on whenever they play this Ravens offense. Again, I agree with you. I think this is DeMeco Ryans' game.
Yeah, I don't have any issues on the defense. I think they're going to be ready to go. Why I think that? Because I just saw DeMeco Ryans coach Christian Harris on how to get a pick six, and Christian Harris does exactly that. That is insane. You have your coach knowing exactly what the other team is doing, and if you do not think DeMeco Ryans is going to be prepared for tomorrow, I don't know what to tell you. 111 people in the chat, guys. Shout out to everyone. Hope you all having a blessed Friday night. Can I get a like check and let me know your scores for tomorrow? If you are going for the Houston Texans, which all 111 people should, drop the swarms, drop your score prediction. The weather tomorrow, it's going to be cold, Harley, but sunny. It was snowing today. And wait, what happened?
No, I said yes.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be sunny. Perfect weather for CJ Stroud. He's played in cold weather before all the way back when he was at the Ohio State University. Some of the comments, Ravens are 1-3 in the playoffs. Yes, in CJ we trust. Absolutely, man. People need to keep sleeping on us. They're going to keep on sleeping on us. Switching to the Houston Texans offense, Harley, versus, an elite Baltimore Ravens. From the secondary to the D-line, right? Secondary, Kyle Hamilton, Geno Stone, elite guys. Yeah. Linebackers, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen. One of them's a first-team All-Pro. The other one's a second-team All-Pro. Both of them Pro Bowlers. Then the defensive line, like you mentioned, Matabuke, Clowney. They have their own Derek Barnett, Kyle Van Noy, who they picked up. He has 9 sacks for them this season. Man, Bobby Slowick, if you pull out a game plan tomorrow, you are going to be a head coach next year. One thing I like, Harley, is once CJ Stroud came back from that concussion, the ball has been out of his hands quick. And that is just credit to Bobby Slowick. And we haven't really seen CJ Stroud get sacked other than one time in the last 3 games. I don't think he was sacked against the Tennessee Titans. He was only sacked 1 time against the Indianapolis Colts, 0 last week. So 1 sack in 3 weeks, Harley. Not only is that a great testament to your offensive line, but your offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, Bobby Trees. We're going to be smoking some trees tomorrow, man, once we get this W. Devin Singletary is also huge for me tomorrow. I'm going to pause on that. When he gets more than 100 yards a game, the Houston Texans are undefeated. Now, I'm not asking him to get 100 yards, but the past 2 months, he's been getting around 4.5, 5 yards a carry. Harley, can I interest you in a stat?
Yo, you can always interest me in stats.
This is from Warren Sharp. On early first half run since week 10, the Ravens' run defense ranks 32 in EPA rush allowed, 32 in yards per catch allowed, 32 in success rate allowed. Also, Baltimore has the #1 pass defense versus non-play action passes on early downs, but dropped to 19 against it. The Houston Texans run beautiful play action. They've also shown that they're not afraid to take risks. 75 yards against Indy. Another deep ball to Nico Collins against the Cleveland Browns to set up that touchdown. Alejandro said, having a man of God behind that offense, what else can you ask for? Yes, man. Shout out to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, allowing me to talk football in front of this screen. CBS, you should be ashamed for cutting out that part that CJ did. You had to thank the man upstairs, man. You have to thank the man upstairs. So CJ Stroud, once he dominates the Ravens tomorrow, I want him to go off and have an all-ass sermon, dude. I think CJ Stroud, you know what, man? Let's start calling him Reverend. Let's start calling him Reverend. When he gets a little bit older, that nickname is going to hit because people are believing, man. People are believing in CJ Stroud. So shout out to him. But going back to the offense, run game needs to be successful. You got to go at Baltimore. You cannot be afraid of them. Harley, 3 weeks without football, potentially, for the Baltimore Ravens starters. How do you think that is going to affect them early in the game?
It has to somehow. It has to take into account, unless they're just machines. If they come out just clicking on all cylinders, it's going to be a long game for you. But you are banking that the Baltimore Ravens are going to come out rusty, right? Like, you are banking that the Houston Texans have to take advantage of the 3-week layoff for the Baltimore Ravens. This isn't always a good thing to have the number 1 seed in the bye week, and then essentially week 18 for them, they just benched all of their guys. They had their backups playing. So with that said, yeah, it definitely has to take into account that the Baltimore Ravens could be playing rusty, at least in the first quarter, where as the Houston Texans, they're one of the hottest teams right now. And offensively, they just dropped 45 points on the number 1 defense in the Cleveland Browns. So you can't come out, taking us lightly whatsoever, because if that's going to be the case, and if they're going to be sleeping, you're going to see that first play, Nico Collins, 76 yards for a tutty. That's exactly what you could see on the first play. And I wouldn't doubt the Houston Texans take a big chance from the get-go on their first drive. Maybe get motor going a little bit. But you mentioned the play actions. The Houston Texans, a Bobby Slowick, Gary Kubiak, Kyle Shanahan scheme. Like, they are just they love to play actions. So the Houston Texans, the big thing, like you mentioned to me, the X factor offensively is Devin Singletary. And we've said this consistently. When he gets the ball going, when he is rocking and rolling at the running back position, and I'm not asking for anything crazy. Hey, if he wants to pop off for $140, then go for it. I have no problem. But give me at least 80 yards. Give me 70 to 85 yards, and I'm happy. I'm chilling, because all he's going to do is set up the play actions, is set up those linebackers going all the way to the left, play action, and then they got to, my eyes were peeking too far inside. CJ's on the other side, and there's Dalton Schultz on a flag route over your head for 47. So CJ Stroud in this Texans offense, they have to take advantage of the rust that the Baltimore Ravens could have to begin this game, get into a big lead, punch them early, punch them fast, get that damn lead, and don't let it up.
The receiving attack for the Houston Texans. Harley, we know who it's going to be. We know it's going to be Nico Collins. We know it's going to be Dalton Schultz. But someone else needs to step up. Is it going to be Brevin Jordan again? I hope so. I don't have a lot of faith in Xavier Hutchinson and John Mechie, even though, both of those guys had a play. John Mechie had a real solid game, 3 catches for 44 yards. But once again, someone is going to have to step up. There is no Noah Brown. You don't know what you're going to get from Robert Woods. It's kind of been like he's falling off his production. He's towards the end of his career. Someone is going to have to do it. And dare I say, Nico Collins puts up $150 and 2 tutties. I don't need another wide receiver. I am the number 1 wide receiver.
Wow. No Marlon Humphrey for the game. So, Stevens is a really good corner for the Baltimore Ravens. He's played really well for them in the absence of Marlon Humphrey many times this year. But Nico Collins, hey, keep proving us wrong, buddy.
That's it.
That's really what he's been doing all year, right? He's been proving us wrong. He's been proving that, hey, damn it, I'm a number 1 wide receiver, and I'm going to prove it to the rest of this league that I ain't a guy to mess with. And the Houston Texans, I think they got a baller in Nico Collins, absolute dog. And Dalton Schultz is a big offensive weapon for us, but let me see a little more Brevin Jordan as well.
Okay.
Let me see what I understand. One catch, 76 yards, maybe a little luck played into that, sure, but I like what Brevin Jordan has been giving with you. With the connection between him and CJ Stroud. We did use him as a fullback in that Colts game, in that Colts game.
Back-to-back games, tutties?
I wouldn't mind to see a Brevin Jordan action if man, you could have a lot of fun, but why not in the goal line have Brevin Jordan as a fullback? He was actually a surprisingly good blocker for you in that Colts game as a fullback. And you saw him when in the passing game. I mean, play action. He's a lot different than Andrew Beck. No offense to Pro Bowler Andrew Beck.
No offense to Pro Bowler.
No offense to Mr. Pro Bowler Andrew Beck, but Brevin Jordan built different than Andrew Beck. All right, so I would not mind that at all. But mention the Brevin Jordans, you're going to have your Nico, you're going to have your Dalton Schultz. 3 catches, 44 yards last week for Mr. John Mechie III.
I didn't want to say it, bro. I didn't want to say it. I did not.
Are we going to see more of this?
No, dude.
Is this the right time
for John Mechie all year? And I don't even want to look at you, bro, when I say this. Like, I need this dude to do something, bro. I need him because I didn't talk about him last week, and he goes off for 3 catches, 44 yards. Goes off is what I'm saying. 3 catches, 44 yards, right? Goes off. But, man, come on, bro. Someone has to step up, dude. Someone besides Nico has to step up and move the chains. Man, John Mechie, if you get started like this late, watch out. I mean, watch out. Because I think a lot of people forget how good John Mechie was for the Crimson Tide. This dude almost would have been a first-round pick if it wasn't for a torn ACL. As we know, gets diagnosed with cancer, cancer. Hey, your breakout game was last week. 3 catches, 44 yards. I'm not asking for 70. I'm not asking for 80. Give me another 3 and 50. Hell, or give me 1 catch, 5 yards, touchdown. That's what I want to see from John Mechie.
He gives me a tutty. He does that crane. I'm going to lose it. He does the crane in
John
Baltimore.
Mechie, touchdown, win the game.
With the crane as the celly, the walk-off celly, the walk-off crane celly for the tutty. Goodness gracious. I'm geeking.
Oof. All right, Harley. Can I get a score prediction from you for tomorrow?
All right. I'll have the video probably tomorrow morning. I was hoping to get it out today. Got busy. But the Houston Texans will be playing the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'm going to have the Baltimore Ravens lose to the Houston Texans, obviously. Obviously. All right. The Houston Texans 27, the Baltimore Ravens 20. You know why? Because Lamar Jackson, you wanted 20. You can get your 20, and you'll have nothing more. Good day, sir. You have nothing more. The Houston Texans defense steps up at the bank, and they say the bank is closed for the rest of the damn day. The Houston Texans 27-20. They get that dub, and they get another opportunity to play in the AFC Championship game. With 1 game away from a Super Bowl.
So I dropped my video today. Now it is different from yours, but we're just a couple of points off. I said 28-21, Houston Texans. That's what I said. I mean, I think that tomorrow you're going to see CJ Stroud prove us right. You are going to see CJ Stroud put the team, not only the team, but the city on his back. And like I said early, you are this close away from your first ever AFC championship game, and you are this close away from the Super Bowl. The Texans are one of the best teams in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. It is not a fluke. They deserve to be here. They have surpassed expectations. They probably even surpassed their own. As much as they tell you, oh, we thought we were going to be here. Nah, the Houston Texans, man, they have grown throughout this season and have become one of the best teams in the NFL. So I put on Twitter today, I didn't expect it to blow up.
Goodness gracious.
I said, if the Houston Texans beat the Baltimore Ravens, I'm going to have a kid. I'm going to just pop one in, brother. And if we win, I might give him a middle name of CJ or something, just to let him know why he was created, because number 7 put an absolute ass whipping on the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to go ahead and say 28-21, and you go to the AFC Championship, guys, and you potentially face Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, but nonetheless, the Houston Texans march in tomorrow and get a victory. Now, before we get to what happened, go ahead.
No, I said the name of your kid. What, Guadalupe, Lupita, or something?
So I don't know, man. Have you thought about names for kids yet?
Not really, dude. Not at all. I'm not even thinking about that.
I know one of my first ones. I'm gonna have to name him Zorro. Zorro Santos Calvillo is gonna be one of them.
Okay. All together sounds better. All together sounds really dope.
Zorro from One Piece. Santos' grandfather who passed away. I didn't the last name, Calvillo, man. Yeah. Name the kid Harley, even if it's a girl. That'd be
it's a fantastic name. All right.
I'm gonna have the middle name be the Duganator.
I mean, come on. It's a unisex name. It's gender fluid. You do what you want with the word Harley, the name Harley. You slap it on anything, it makes everything better. I mean, come on, man. Come on.
Before we try to hype you up, can I see some swarms in the chat, please? Can I see some swarms in the chat? 108 people in here. You are going to hear me and Harley do our best to give you goosebumps and get you excited for tomorrow's victory. Brock says, Duganator, I laughed in person. That's what we called him when we were playing, football, man. It was, why, man. Just the Duganator. That's why we call him. I mean, that's fire. That's fire. I see the swarms. Harley Dugan, can you do me a favor? Can you hype up the city of Houston for tomorrow's divisional playoff game against the Baltimore Ravens?
Everyone's counting you out, man. Everyone's counting you out. Baltimore Ravens this, Baltimore Ravens that.
What?
Ravens by 20, Ravens by 30.
What?
Super Bowl champs going through Baltimore. They beat the Niners.
What?
Houston, Texas ain't got a single chance.
What?
We heard this in the Colts game.
What?
We heard this in the Browns game.
What?
We're hearing it one more time.
What?
Against the Baltimore Ravens.
Blasphemy.
D'Amico Ryan says it best. You go get your op. You go get that opportunity. And you got a damn good opportunity tomorrow at 3:30 against the Baltimore Ravens. This Houston Texans team has been resilient, man. They've been strong. They've done their thing. Throw all that shit to the window, man. Throw that shit all away. I don't want to hear all this good guy talk.
What?
You going into the flock.
What?
You going into the bank.
What?
And you got to get in there and grab your W.
What?
The Ravens are known for playing smash mouth football, and the Houston Texans are going to represent how Texans football is going to happen down there in the bank. All right? CJ Stroud and company are going to put it on an absolute clinic, and they're going to show the Baltimore fans what great quarterback play looks like. They're going to show those Baltimore fans for the first time in their franchise history, they're going to see what greatness at the quarterback position looks like. They can no longer take history from the Browns or the Colts or whatever they want to take history from. The Houston Texans, ladies and gentlemen, with DeMeco Ryans, with CJ Stroud, with Will Anderson, and all them boys rounding out, doing their thing. They are going to put boots to asses on the Baltimore Ravens. They're tired of the shit. They're tired of all the talk. Let's go out there and let's go take an opportunity away from the Baltimore Ravens. You are 25% chance of making the damn Super Bowl. And damn it, I ain't finished yet. The Houston Texans aren't finished yet. Damn it, the Houston Texans get this goddamn dub and they go into the flock. They go into whatever you want to call it. And I liked how you said it. They'll come out with a bag of 53 beaks. How about that?
I'm ready to go. I'm hyped up. Harley. I've already heard all the comments, all the naysayers, all the predictions. You're not winning. You don't have a chance. I heard Good Morning America Football today say whoever beats the Houston Texans has the road to the Super Bowl. Do you not see what CJ Stroud is? He is not the best rookie quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He is the best rookie we have ever seen, point blank, period. After the game tomorrow, you will not compare him to Tom Brady. You will not compare him to Joe Montana. You will see CJ Stroud in a class of his own. And the reason why the Houston Texans are going to put up 28 tomorrow against the black and gold is going to be because of 7. And when he gathered his troops in front of the Indianapolis crowd and he said it, we're too special. We're too fucking special. That made me so emotional because I believed it. I believed it. This is not Case Keenum at quarterback. This is not Deshaun Watson. This is not Brian Hoyer. This is Coleridge Bernard Stroud IV, who has shown you since he walked across that stage in the NFL draft a couple of months ago that he is him. What did he tell us? I bring me. And that is exactly what the Baltimore Ravens are going to face tomorrow. Let me go ahead and talk to the defense because there's a fucking swarm coming. There is a swarm coming. And Lamar Jackson, you better be ready. That 1-3 is going to be 1-4. You are going to see Will Anderson Jr. You are going to see John DeGrenard take you to the ground consistently all 4 quarters. At the start of the whistle, you send in Jalen Petrie on a blitz and you make your presence known from the start that the Houston Texans are not here to play. They want to walk out with 53 beaks on a sack right across their shoulder, and they want to come back to Houston saying 1 game away. That's all we need. What did they say right before the Colts game? We talked about 8 quarters. We're talking about 8 quarters right now. The Houston Texans are 8 quarters away from the Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. We have to start talking about Super Bowl because you're in an opportunity to play there. You're one of the last teams left, the last team standing. No one predicted this, not even me, not even Harley. And you're in a situation to shock the world. You did it against the Colts. You did it against the Browns. And history tells me you're going to do it tomorrow against the Baltimore Ravens. And you are going to cripple that fan base because the conversations after tomorrow will be, can Lamar Jackson lead this team to the Super Bowl? Are we pretenders? Is Harbaugh the guy? That's what's going to happen tomorrow when the Houston Texans walk into Baltimore and walk out with the W. I am so freaking hyped. I wish it was 3:30 already, but Harley, we deserve to fucking be here. The fans deserve to see this team go to the Super Bowl. To everyone who lined up at 4 o'clock in the morning in training camp, it was Harley, it was me, it was everyone wanted to see this new Houston Texans team, and you are being rewarded, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to end with Chaz. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. Let's go Houston Texans. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a fire episode of Believe in the Houston Texans. Harley, what's going on?
You know, I wanted to end it, but I like what Chase said, but, you know, I'll end it.
End it, man.
I'll end it with a quote from Ric Flair.
Woo!
If you want to beat the man, you got to beat the man, right? If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man, damn it. And Ric Flair has instilled a fantastic quote, a fantastic opportunity for this Houston Texans team. It is CJ Stroud. He is not even a top 5 quarterback according to Dan Orlovsky and the rest of these quarterback conversations. Right now in the playoffs, CJ Stroud is ranked below Baker Mayfield. If you want to talk about disrespect, if you want to talk about drawing a line, if you want to talk about pissing in your backyard, that is an ultimate disrespect. And CJ Stroud is going to show not only the NFL, but all them talking heads, all the rest of the media heads that are not with CJ Stroud. He is going to show them for the rest of his time right now in the playoffs, not just tomorrow, because there's going to be more than just tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. The Houston Texans are getting this damn dub. It's embrace the fucking swarm. It's embrace the young Reverend and CJ Stroud. All glory to God. Let's get it on.
And I'm going to go ahead and end it with the Bible verse. Shout out to my guy, CJ Stroud. Shout out to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. I do not fear the Baltimore Ravens. That is my boy, Harley Dugan. We call him the Duganator. I am Ruben Calvillo. We will see you tomorrow. And we win, man. I might do a post-game stream. I might hit up Harley and say, what do you want to do, man? What do you want to talk about? Because tomorrow might be one of the biggest days for the Houston Texans in their history. That's what tomorrow could be when you walk out of Baltimore with a W. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of today's live stream. I hope this is not the last Friday pregame live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, have a real blessed rest of your Friday night, and please be safe.